Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I would like to first of all congratulate all of the newly accepted students who will be heading to the Islamic University of Medina 2019, 2020. Allahumma barak, may Allah bless all of you and make everything easy for you. Some brothers have reached out to me asking for some advice, so I wanted to record this video to, provide whatever insights, whatever advice, whatever information I can that perhaps will be of some benefit. So take what I say with a grain of salt. This is simply my perspective, my experience. So it's gonna be a long video. I'm just gonna ramble and try to share as much information as I can, because if you did get accepted and you really do want to hear the experience of people who have come before you, then inshallah you'll listen all the way through and you'll benefit. And I know me personally, when I was accepted, I was asking everybody their advice, their opinions, their experience. So please bear with me if I rant and ramble. So first of all, I just want to say that we are all brothers and we are all on the same team. And I say that because Shaitan will try to come and create enmity between us. Brothers might be jealous of you. You might bump heads with other students. You might split, and there might be drama over things that are not even significant. So take heed and do your adhkar and make your dua, and remember that we're all on the same team. All right? If you go and you study in Medina and you benefit and you become a better Muslim and you learn your deen, then inshallah I am going to benefit. My family, my children, my community is going to benefit. And we all need to remember that. We're all on the same team. So that being the case, my first piece of advice is for you all to seek out the other students that are from your country. I know the US, we have a WhatsApp group for newly accepted students for everyone to share information, to help each other out, assist one another in getting your visa, in preparing and asking questions. And then inshallah, once you arrive in Medina and you're registered, there's another WhatsApp group for students who are enrolled. And I know the UK, Canada, nowadays with the internet, with social media, with blogs, with email, with WhatsApp, there are many different resources for students from whatever country you're from, inshallah, to find other students, okay? And you guys should stick together and help one another out. That's my first piece of advice. Now, moving on from that, you have to think about your goals. We all are different, okay? Although you should seek advice from other people, from other graduates, other students, other brothers you might respect. But at the end of the day, you probably know yourself better. You know your situation better, your goals and aspirations better than anyone else. And we're all grown men, all right? We all need to act like grown men. We can all respectfully disagree with one another and still be brothers and still choose our own course that we think is most suited for ourselves, without being pressured into doing this or doing that because someone else said we should do it, or someone else getting offended because they gave us certain advice that we perhaps didn't follow. All right, put all the drama to the side. We're all on the same team, and think about what your goals are. So I will give you an example about what my mindset was when I went to Medina. The reason I wanted to go there and study was because I wanted to seek knowledge full-time from an institution that I trusted, an institution that I felt like their understanding of Islam was pure, was authentic, was correct. And I also wanted to live in an Islamic country. And I figured if I was able to do all of that and graduate, then inshallah from there I could give da'wah. Because da'wah is something that is obligatory upon us as a community. And as soon as I became Muslim, coming from a non-Muslim background, that was always something that was very important to me. So that was my perspective going to Medina. I wanted to study at the university, get through the program, go to the Arabic Institute, learn the language, graduate, and then go to the College of Da'wah, go through that program and graduate. That was my main focus. Some people, they go to Medina, or they have gone in the past to Medina for different reasons. Some studying in the Jamia wasn't their number one priority. Some of them, it was studying outside of the Jamia in Masjid al-Nabawi with the Mashayikh. For some people, it was just making hijrah. It was just living in Medina. It was just about going there, trying to make umrah as much as you can, go and pray in Masjid al-Nabawi as much as you can, and live there and enjoy the Islamic lifestyle. And there are all types of different reasons people go to Medina, but I told you mine. So that was my perspective. Personally, my priorities were, number one, taking care of my family, because alhamdulillah, I got married before I was accepted to the University of Medina. So I had a family to look out for, and I was responsible for. So that was my, aside from, of course, praying 5 times a day and my personal obligations to Allah, my number one priority was fulfilling my obligation to my wife, to my family. And over the years, I saw many brothers who were, for whatever reason, unable to take care of their family and study. Okay, and this is something to think about if you are a single student and you're considering getting married. There are many brothers who they left because they couldn't bring their wife, they couldn't get a visa for them, or they couldn't provide for them and their kids, or they left them back home and there was issues back home. So that's something to consider. So that was number one for me, was taking care of my family. Number two was trying to graduate, trying to pass my classes, trying to not fail out. And then my third priority was benefiting from all of that knowledge myself, and then trying to spread it in terms of da'wah. And so that was my hierarchy. Number one, my family. Number two, studying in the Jamia. And 3, da'wah. So when I arrived, I had only been Muslim for 2 years. So my Arabic wasn't non-existent, but I could basically read. I taught myself how to read, how to write, kind of. I knew some vocabulary, and that was pretty much it. Now, I arrived in 2010, so things have changed. The Islamic University has changed. The country of Saudi Arabia has changed. So, you have to, what I'm saying, some of the information, it might be dated. And that's another reason why it's very important for you to have friends, have companions who are students, who might be a year or two ahead of you, who might be many years ahead of you. You need to know all these different people who know what's going on in terms of the rules and regulations, because they change all the time, and they're important to know because you need to know the situation you're dealing with. So when I arrived, this was basically the situation. Nobody was really getting kicked out of the Jamia back then, back in like 2010, 2011. It was to the point where people would fail on purpose. Somebody might be fluent in Arabic, but they would go into level 1 of the Arabic Institute, and they would repeat, and they would fail, and they would drag their feet. Why? Because they wanted to stay in Medina. They wanted to study outside with the Mashaykh. They wanted to memorize certain matun and things of that nature before going to the college. But things are different now. By the time I was graduating, brothers were getting kicked out. Brothers were getting sent home. So that's not the case anymore, but so you need to know the rules. So when I was in the Arabic Institute, it's basically, if you go in at level 1, you can graduate in 2 years. Okay, but you could stay an extra year if you were to repeat 2 different levels. So for example, I went into level 1, I passed it. Level 2, passed it. That was 1 year. Then I went to level 3 and I repeated it. So I did level 3 for a year, then I went to level 4 and I repeated it for a year. So I was in the Arabic Institute for 3 years, which was part of the program. This was permissible back then. And it was something that you had to, you don't want to take advantage of the system, but you need to work with the system. Okay, the system is there for you to work with. It's like that for a reason, because some people, they do need extra time in the Arabic Institute. So you need to find out those sorts of rules and regulations. Okay, what do your grades need to be like? How much time are they going to give you? And don't mess around. Always err on the side of caution, because you don't want to play around and risk getting kicked out and being sent home, right? You want to stay there. This is a dream come true. You having this opportunity to go there and study. You don't want to lose it over something silly, over something petty. So always err on the side of caution. Now, when I was in level 1 of the Arabic Institute, they didn't teach Alif Ba Ta. Very few students were really at a beginner's level. A lot of students, they already, knew quite a bit of Arabic. Some of them memorized the Quran. Some of them were fluent. Don't let this discourage you. Do not, inshallah, ever get discouraged. Don't ever have a problem with being embarrassed and not knowing something, because this isn't about what people think of you. This isn't about trying to look cool and knowledgeable. This is about you trying to get closer to Allah. Always remember that. The fact that you're there seeking knowledge is a beautiful thing in and of itself, and it's a sign that Allah wants good for you. So no matter how tough things get, try to always remember what you're doing, and try to read books about the benefits of seeking knowledge, so that you don't give up and you don't get discouraged. It was very frustrating for me, very difficult for me, the way that I was taught in the Institute, because I guess my hopes were too high. I had expectations that were unrealistic. So don't have these high expectations that when you go to class, you just sit there and all of the information is going to go into your brain. You have to be a man, and you have to figure out what you have to do to learn the language, all right? Don't expect to go to class and to just, learn everything. It might be over your head, all right? So you might have to do a lot of studying outside. That was many of us who were at a very beginner's level when we arrived in Medina. We had to do the majority of our studying outside. There are resources online. There are many different resources for learning the Medina Arabic series. LQtoronto.com is a very well-known one. I knew myself and many other students, we would study that course in Medina, in our dorm room, because he was teaching at our level in English, and it was beneficial for us. So keep that in mind, all right? It's really what you put into it. If you can sit with, people learn differently. Some people, they enjoy learning online, watching videos. Some people, they like having a teacher. There were brothers who were willing to tutor me. I sat with some other brothers who tutored me when I first got there. There are many different options, okay? And that's another reason why it's important to know other brothers, all right? Like I said, we're all on the same team. Don't be shy. Go and talk to other brothers. Ask them for advice. See what other resources are out there. There is a print shop on campus that has mudakkaras. They have little summarized books and pamphlets, and they have, answer keys to the different books and things of that nature. So these are all important resources that you need to know, but you're not going to really know about them unless you mix with the brothers. So I guess those are sort of my main points of advice is, talk to other students to get their advice, to know what you're dealing with. Make sure that you understand the rules so that you can work within the rules to your benefit, but err on the side of caution so that you don't mess up and get sent home for failing. Make sure you're passing your classes, inshallah. And you also have to prioritize. When I first got to Medina, I really wanted to learn the language so I could go out and I could have conversations and I could watch the news and read newspapers. And I quickly realized that was an unrealistic goal for me given my situation. Okay, I only had so much time, so much energy, so much ability to really learn, and I had to prioritize. So I sort of put conversation to the side because it's not ideal, and it definitely shows in terms of my conversation today, but it worked for me in terms of me being able to graduate, me being able to actually get through the program. So I focused on the material, on learning Arabic grammar that were in the books, that were the vocabulary that would help me pass my classes. There's a difference between the Arabic they speak on the streets versus the Arabic they teach in the classroom. I knew a brother who was very fluent outside of the classroom. He could go all over Medina and speak the colloquial dialect, and very outgoing and animated, and knew all these people. But when it came to fusha, when it came to knowing Arabic grammar and being able to even read, this was something that he struggled with. So this is something to think about depending on your level. Ideally, you can do it all. Ideally, you'll learn everything, okay? But like I said, it all depends. It all depends on who you are, what your goals are, what your situation is, both personally and academically. So what else? Yeah, so just don't give up. All right, listen, seriously, if I was able to graduate, I was able to get through it, inshallah, all of you will be able to get through it. The key is to just not give up. Make dua and just don't give up ever, inshallah. If you really want it that badly. Many brothers gave up. They decided, you know what, I don't want to stick it out. This isn't what I thought it would be. And many people left just because they didn't like it. It was too difficult. They wanted to go back to the States, get a secular education. All right? But if this is what you want, then inshallah, Allah will give it to you. But you got to work. You got to work hard. So hopefully that was beneficial in terms of the Arabic Institute. When it comes to picking a college, a kulliyah, they actually have changed the curriculum since I've been there. Okay? When I went, it was Kulliyat al-Da'wa wa Usul al-Din. Now I believe it is Kulliyat al-Aqida wal Adyan. And they've changed the curriculums. So when you pick which college you want to go to, my advice is to talk to other brothers who are in those colleges so that you can hopefully look at the different classes and understand what it is that each college has to offer, and then pick what appeals to you the most. I'm a firm believer that if you love fiqh, if you day and night, fiqh is just your thing, go to Kulliyat al-Sharia. If you love da'wah, if you love aqidah, if you love seerah and Islamic history, go to da'wah. If you love Quran, if you love the different recitations, you're a hafiz, go to Quran, so on and so forth. That's my advice. I think that all of the colleges, they all have things that are beneficial, but it all depends on what you like the most. And that's just my personal opinion. You're going to hear different things from different people. Different people will say, no, you need to go to this college because of this reason and that reason. So that's my advice. And again, you all are grown men. You all have to make your own decisions. You have to live with the decisions that you make. Okay? Allah knows best. Always pray istikhara. Okay? Before you make an important decision, always, think about it, seek out the advice, and then once you think you know what it is that you want to do, pray istikhara. And I guess the last thing I'll say again is you need to know the rules. When we went into Kulliyat Da'wah back in, I think it was 2014, you basically had 6 years to graduate. Halfway through, they changed the rules. They changed it from you have 6 years to graduate to you have 4 years to graduate. And I saw many brothers get kicked out because they didn't have enough credits, because their GPA was too low, because they failed too many classes. All right? So this being the case, now that they've changed things and brothers are getting kicked out, my advice is to make sure that you don't make those same mistakes. Make sure that you pass your classes. Make the Jamia a priority. Okay? If you have it like that, if you're, mashallah, a good enough student to pass all your classes and also study outside and sit with the mashayikh and memorize this and memorize that, then Allahumma barak, mashallah. But if you are like me and you're just, you're a new Muslim, a lot of it was overwhelming, it was a lot of information at once, then make sure you get your priorities straight and you try to pass your classes. All right? And a major thing that is going to assist you in passing your classes is knowing Arabic well and memorizing Quran. All right? Really try to memorize as much Quran as you can. Don't procrastinate. A lot of brothers, if you stay on top of what you have to do throughout the semester, inshallah, it's going to be easy for you to pass your classes, okay? But if you get distracted, you're out in Medina running around doing this, doing that, and you're not keeping up with your studies for your classes, then it can all hit you at once. And an example that one of my teachers gave, he said that if I give you 100 sandwiches and I give you 4 months to eat those sandwiches, if you eat a couple every day, then by the time your 4 months are up, you'll have eaten all the sandwiches, no problem. But if you wait the night before to eat all those 100 sandwiches, it's going to be impossible. And that really is how it can feel studying if you wait till the last minute. You wait till the night before to study for your exam. All the exams typically come all at once, all right? This week, like all semester, you'll have no work, no assignments, no tests. Then all of a sudden, before you know it, you have 3 exams on the same day. You have 5 exams the same week. And then you have your final exams, and it all comes at once. But if you keep up throughout the semester, you pay attention in class, you review every day, inshallah, it'll be easy for you. So, I'll leave it at that. Allah knows best. Hopefully this was beneficial. And again, just to sort of summarize what I said, first and foremost, you have to have the proper intention. Inshallah, all your teachers are going to remind you of this. Every semester, usually the teachers would remind all the students of their intention, of the virtues of seeking knowledge. And this is constantly important every day to remember. You're doing this for the sake of Allah. You're doing this with sincerity so that you can learn your deen and then you can implement what you learn, because life is short and we were created to worship Allah and we want to go to Jannah in the hereafter. That's what it's all about. Always try to keep that in mind. And the more you learn, the more you're going to have to implement. So again, brotherhood, this is part of our deen. Brotherhood is part of Islam. So try to get close to your brothers and treat them with respect. And don't don't let brothers tell you what to do if you know it's not part of your deen. I experienced myself and many of the brothers around me when we first went to Medina. People were trying to pressure us from back home, from our different communities, people even there in Medina trying to tell you to do this, to do that. But as we gained knowledge from the mashayikh, from our teachers, we started realizing that some of the pressure that people are putting on us is not true, it's not accurate. And then you have a decision to make. Are you going to listen to Allah, obey Allah, or are you going to listen to these people pressuring you? All right? So always try to stay true to the teachings of Islam, okay? To Allah and following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the way to go. That's what we're doing here in this dunya, in this life, and especially seeking knowledge. And try to stay close to your brothers. Try to be a good brother, but also understand, like I said, we're grown men. You have your own responsibilities. Many of you, you're probably married. You might have kids. Okay, that's a responsibility upon you. You gotta make sure that you're taking care of your family. All right. You shouldn't oppress your wife and your kids because you're out with the brothers, out eating at halal McDonald's and doing this and that. You gotta take care of your family. It's very important. And to all of you who are single, I had many conversations with brothers over the years. They're like, Sajid, I want to get married, and there are pros and cons. When you're single, yeah, you want to get married. The grass is always greener on the other side, as they say. You're single, you want to get married, you're thinking about getting a wife and so on and so forth. But when you're single, you have freedom to spend your time however you want to spend it. You can spend every day memorizing Quran all day. You have no other responsibilities. That's a major advantage. And but some brothers can't live like that. Some brothers are already married, and some brothers they need a wife. It's wajib, khalas. They have to get married. All right, so there are benefits to that too. It can be very beneficial to live with your wife, with your kids in the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a beautiful thing. But don't think it's gonna just be a walk in the park. You gotta provide for them. You gotta to emotionally comfort them, spend time with them. It's gonna take away from your studies, but that's what you gotta do. What else? Yeah, my advice is to always keep the university a priority. That's my advice. I've seen brothers over the years who didn't make it a priority, and they ended up leaving, they ended up getting kicked out, so on and so forth. So make sure that you're passing your classes. This isn't the Medina of old where you can just drag your feet and fail your classes and stay there for 20 years. All right, make sure you're keeping up with your studies, and inshallah, I do believe that the curriculum of the university, if you get through the whole thing, it is beneficial. It is they do teach proper Islamic authentic knowledge, so you will benefit. So try to get through the whole program and be grateful that Allah accepted you. A countless amount of brothers and sisters would do whatever they could to study in Medina, and they don't have the opportunity. You have the opportunity, so be grateful and make the most of it. And Allah knows best. Always make dua. All success comes from Allah. So I'll leave it at that. I hope this was beneficial, and may Allah bless all of you brothers. I really sincerely hope and I ask that Allah make you all better than we were, better than I was, that you guys carry the torch, you benefit, and that we all work together to give victory to Islam, and to build these communities, to give da'wah, and that Allah unite all of us in Jannah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.